How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. SIC carries out search in Binance Australia amidst license revocation and ongoing investigation. Following the discovery of errors in the classification of individual and wholesale customers by Binance Australia, the SIC initiated an investigation into its derivatives operation. The SIC conducted a search at Binance Australia office on July 4th as part of the investigation. The reason given for the closure of the derivatives exchange was the misclassification of some Australian users as wholesale investors, despite not meeting the country's derivatives trading requirements. Binance did emphasize in a public statement that they are fully cooperating with the authorities in the country and they are fully focused on meeting the local regulatory standards, so hopefully they can meet some clarity and get through some of this regulatory struggle they're having lately. UK legislators to approve bill granting authorities power to seize crypto. UK legislators have moved to consider changes in previously introduced economic crime and corporate transparency bill. The legislation aimed at empowering authorities to seize crypto assets linked to criminal activities. This underwent a third reading at the UK Upper Parliamentary House, the House of Lords, on July 4th. The bill's June 27th version included proposals that added amendments to existing frameworks to allow law enforcement authorities more flexibility in the seizure of civil recovery of crypto assets, so more easily able to take your assets from you. For now, the UK legislators will weigh all amendments to the bill before passing on royal approval, so hopefully this doesn't become something that they overuse and abuse. The UK plans to enforce the FATF's travel rule as a key anti-money laundering combating the financing of terrorism measure by September 2023. The travel rule requires VASPs or crypto exchanges to obtain, hold, exchange information on virtual asset transfer originators and beneficiaries. So they're going to require anyone that deals with crypto assets like banks or any exchange to know who is sending and receiving your crypto. Binance halts deposits and withdrawals on the multi-chain bridge tokens. So earlier, a few months ago, Binance announced that it is going to cease all these withdrawals. This is because this is the exchange where the owner was not able to be found. He was supposedly arrested in China, and he's the sole access for the keys, so nothing can happen on this chain. The Binance is officially saying they're going to quit allowing people to deposit on the exchange. They say users can withdraw off of them via other networks supported by the exchange, but they will not be able to use this bridge network anymore. Core banking US giants now have $205 billion in unrealized losses sitting on their balance sheets. So, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, and Citigroup have compiled the losses due to bad bets in the bond market. But you know, the crypto market's terrible, even though banks are doing the same things. Bank of America is in the worst shape with a margin of $100 billion in unrealized losses on the books, so almost half of the total losses. And Wells Fargo and JP Morgan Chase both have $40 billion in unrealized bond market losses, while Citigroup has $25 billion in paper losses. BOFA says it does not plan to sell their underwater bonds, and they want to avoid crystallizing losses that only exist on paper right now. So that's one way to think about. Hopefully it works out for them, because sometimes that can make it worse. There was a test conducted which simulated what would happen if a economic collapse happened, and it found that the top 23 banks would remain as they would have their minimum capital requirements, so there's no worry that these banks will collapse because of this, but it could cause an issue. Fed minutes say there may be a little bit more hikes on the way, but it's going to be at a slower pace. They say they want to leave it at the target range for now and kind of wait and see how things play out and see if things go up or if they go down to kind of determine if we should increase or decrease the rates or at which point we should increase rates. So they don't want to just go all in because we are at the most aggressive since the early 1980s. So onto the charts. I did not switch over. So we are getting a little bit of a drop here in our total market cap. Stochastic is falling off, RSI is sliding, momentum is falling with a red dot, our VWAP is in the bearish territory, and our money flow is maintaining its ground. So our momentum is coming down, our VWAP's in the bearish. We'll have to see if it goes any lower. It is at a decent spot where it likes to get hung up. So if it doesn't push any lower, we could rebound, but we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Over on Bitcoin dominance, we're kind of just going sideways here, so we have a little bit of a bear flag that could form here. RSI is going sideways, Stochastic's trying to come up, but it's not really going anywhere. Our momentum is continuing to come down, kind of trying to round out, as our VWAP is trying to round up, but overall it's starting to flatten out. So if it flattens out and starts to pull back, we could see that momentum start to come back down. Our money flow is starting to come down as well, so overall our money flow is not too strong looking right now. Over on the 4 hour, our Stochastic is heading down, RSI is heading down, momentum's heading down, and our VWAP is heading down as well. Our money flow is in the red. We do have that bearish trend going, so we are losing strength on the dominance. Over on our futures, like I said, if you want to see more in depth on the others like these three, just let me know in the comments. Our money, we are getting a decent bounce. We have this volume profile. We have this bigger range right around this 30.5, 32 area that we are maintaining above. So we could try to make some sort of a bull flag. Our RSI is sliding though. Our Stochastic is sliding. RSI has a red dot. Momentum has a red dot and it's starting to fall. Money flow is rejecting away, VWAP is rejecting away, so not too strong looking for any kind of bullish move forward. If we look at the futures, money flow is about to break bearish, so I keep an eye on this. RSI is falling, Stochastic's starting to roll over. Our VWAP is trying to come up, but it looks like it's going to start to stall out, so I would definitely keep an eye on the next few candles. Over on Bitcoin, we are making a little bit of a bounce off this support zone. We were broken through it. We did try to make our full move from the ascending channel. Stochastic is pushing away. RSI is pushing away. Our money flow is overall coming out. We are getting really close to that neutral, so not quite in the bearish territory like our futures, but we are close and about to be. Our momentum is coming down. We have bearish divergence. We have a red dot here, so that could bring our momentum lower. Our VWAP is pushing into the bearish territory, so that does make our momentum weaker. Over on the 4 hour, you can see we kind of pushed away from this channel. We are coming up to this support resistance area, trying to test it. So if we get pushed away here, we could see further downside. However, if we're able to get above and kind of reclaim this zone, we could try to retest where we flagged from and try to go higher and fill that higher gap. But our RSI is sliding, Stochastic is falling, money flow is struggling to get above this 13, so if it doesn't manage to get above and stay above pretty decently, we could see it start to roll away. Our VWAP is starting to roll away and our momentum's pretty oversold, so our momentum's not too strong currently. Over on the 2 hour, we are still getting that push away. You can see we kind of pushed up and then got rejected pretty quickly. RSI is overall sliding, Stochastic's starting to round off. VWAP is looking a little weak. It was coming up, but it's overall getting lower highs currently. Our money flow is struggling to stay above that neutral line and could give it up to the bears. Our momentum wants to come up, but if that VWAP starts to come down, that momentum may get kicked down as well. Over on the 1 hour, our Stochastic is trying to make a decent run up. RSI is trying to point up. Our money flow is in the bearish territory, so we do have that bearish momentum here. If that does carry over into the 2 and the 4 hour, we could see more downside. Our momentum wave is starting to round off as our VWAP was coming up, but it's starting to get close to that neutral and struggling to stay above it, so we'll have to see if it breaks through and becomes more bearish again. So overall, we're pretty indecisive. Our money flow is in the bearish territory, but it is coming up. Watch if it breaks bullish. That could help kick things off, but if we stay in the bearish territory, that could lead into the higher to medium time frames and bring us down. And quick for our Discord channel, for any of you that are still watching, we do almost have our order. It'll be here in about a week from our sponsor. So we'll be able to announce that pretty soon. You'll be able to start hearing more about that, and you'll be able to get some freebies in the Discord, as well as I just got my 3D printer calibrated that I bought, so we're going to start running with that and making some things for our Discord. So again, if anyone wants in, let me know. Our graph, we are overall sliding. Our stochastic is starting to make lower highs, could get a bearish break here. RSI is pointing down. Our candles, we're making a bit of a rounding pattern here, so that could push us down pretty strongly. VWAP is rejecting away. Our money flow is making higher lows, but it did reject crossing bullish, so we do have bearish momentum on it. So just keep an eye out for that. Over on the 4-hour, our RSI is overall slipping. It wants to make a bit of a dip up, so we'll have to see if it can recover, but our stochastic's not very strong, so it doesn't really have much weight behind it, so keep an eye on it. Our money flow did try to make a bit of a curve up, but overall it's starting to drop, and we are getting close to neutral again. Our VWAP is trying to head up. I swear they just do this with the money flow at night, like the last few days, just to make me look crazy. But I digress. Our VWAP is trying to head up. We are trying to push through this neutral. We'll have to see if we can actually get through and break through. If that does happen, our momentum will likely get a green dot, and we could see everything else gain some traction. But that'll be dependent on how these lower time frames look. Our RSI is slipping away, stochastic's starting to round out. Our money flow is close to that neutral and about to break, so keep an eye out as we are making a slight bounce, but it's not looking like a strong bounce currently. Our VWAP is in the bullish territory. We'll have to see if it continues its momentum up, otherwise we could stall out and start to push down. Our momentum is trying to get a double green dot that wants to push us higher, so we'll have to see if everything else can stay bullish and that play out. Overall, we do have resistance here at this like 12.5 zone, as that is our Fibonacci level, and where we have a lot of candle touches, so just keep an eye on if we reject or break through that. If we reject, we'll see lower prices in these ranges. If we break through, we'll trade higher to these ranges. Our stochastic is overall starting to curl here on the 1 hour though, so stochastic's not looking too strong. RSI is struggling to get higher highs, but we are in bullish momentum for it. Our VWAP is starting to round off as our momentum's starting to round off, so we're not looking too good on those either. And our money flow is starting to come out, so our money flow is getting bearish traction and heading downwards. So overall, we're looking a little not too good here. Keep in mind, graph did pump up like way the hell more than anything else, so it is going to see a little bit more of a downside. So over on the daily for Anchor, we did try to get about halfway to our value area low from our previous other range that we broke down from. That's why we kept it here, because it is still acting as decent areas of support resistance. But we are pushing away. So we are getting a red candle here, we got a green dot, and we are invalidating that green dot with a bearish push down. RSI is starting to curl down, stochastic's starting to push down, momentum's starting to get lower highs, our VWAP is starting to get lower highs and looks like it's starting to get overbought. Our VWAP, our MFI, money flow, looks like it is struggling to get above this neutral zone, so if it's not able to get some green candles and reclaim bullish territory, we could be in for more downside and see some further lower prices and possibly a retest of this zone here. Over on the 4 hour, we are trying to go up. We are pretty sloppily moving up though, kind of getting lower highs here, so might make some sort of descending triangle if that pattern does persist. But our momentum's coming down, stochastic's crashing down, RSI is falling, it's trying to hold its ground at this 53, but if the stochastic keeps coming down, it's not going to gain much weight and could start to curl back down. Our VWAP is in the bearish territory, getting lower lows, so that is bringing our momentum down, so just keep an eye on if that continues. Over on the 2 hour, our stochastic wants to make a little bit of a rebound here, so we'll have to see if it can actually manage. Our RSI is slipping away as it has no strength. Our momentum is coming down as our VWAP is in the bearish territory. Our VWAP is trying to get higher lows though, so it is trying to head toward this neutral zone. We'll have to see if it can actually break through and get some strength up. Otherwise, we may just peak up and roll back over. So I would keep an eye on that. Over on the 1 hour, I don't really have anything too much more besides that triangle, descending triangle possibility if this pattern persists. RSI is trying to maintain its ground. Stochastic is trying to maintain, but it's not maintaining in a good zone, as if it maintains here, RSI will have no strength and start to come down. Our money flow did get a little bit of a bounce and we got a little bit of a push up, but overall we're slipping away. Our money flow is starting to round off after that bounce, so we are losing our traction. Our VWAP is breaking in the bullish territory, but it's not looking too strong currently and looks like it could round off, so just keep an eye on that. If it doesn't manage to round off and does gain some traction here, our momentum could come up and this green dot could help push us forward. Over on XRP, we are getting a little bit of a drop. Manipulation X on the daily, that could bring us even lower. Last time we got one, we just dropped right away. Last 2 times actually. The first time we got one, we got more downside afterwards. The second time we got a little bit of downside and then a big jump and then a little more downside, so didn't automatically dump us, but sometimes these do. Stochastic does have a potential bearish cross that could happen. RSI is bending aggressively. Our money flow is struggling to maintain this 14 area, so if it starts to push down, we could see our money flow start to come out. VWAP is starting to round off, and our momentum is starting to reject away as well because the VWAP is pushing down so hard. So we may get a red dot and we could see some more downside to come. We could possibly fill these wicks here. And then if we don't just fill those wicks, let's get our volume profile for you real quick. Over on our volume profile, we are bouncing off of the top of it, so that is good for us for now. If we get some green candles to come in and push us up, we could make it solidify a bounce and a retest. However, if we come down and just keep bouncing around here, we could eventually just break through, so just keep an eye on that. If we do break through, then that point of control would be our next stop, which remember that point of control is just below that 38-cent zone that I called out about a month ago. So overall, we are slipping here on the 4 hour. Stochastic does want to make a bullish cross. RSI is trying to point up. Our momentum is overall in the bearish territory, but our VWAP's heading up, trying to make it bend. So we may get a green dot if that VWAP manages to get through that neutral zone. So I would keep an eye on if that does happen. If that happens, we may see a push up and could invalidate some bearish momentum. On the 2 hour, RSI is trying to head up, Stochastic's trying to push through this neutral area, but it's starting to bend right at it, so if it bends and gives the strength to the bears here, we could be in for some more downside, but if it breaks through and maintains, we could be in for some more upside, especially since our money flow is breaking bullish after being in the bearish territory, so this could be a positive inclination for us to move up. Our VWAP is trying to push up, but our momentum's not going too far as our VWAP's not very strong currently, so I would want to see this push up even harder. Over on the 1 hour, we are kind of just chopping sideways, might have a rising channel, kind of sloppy rising channel, so I would watch out for that. Our Stochastic's pushing up, RSI is trying to push up. Our money flow is struggling to break above this about 11-10 area, so if we don't break through and start to head up, we could see some more downside. Our VWAP is struggling as well and looks like it wants to push down. Our momentum is trying to come up pretty decently, but that's because our VWAP did have strength, so if this VWAP gives up the strength, that momentum's likely to follow. Finally, on Algo for the daily, we are breaking our point of control here. So our next stop, if we don't get a green candle to push us up and invalidate this manipulation X, would be the value area low, and then our Fibonacci zone at 10 cent. Our Stochastic is pushing away, RSI is starting to push away, our VWAP is pushing down, money flow is overall starting to inch its way out again, and we have a red dot on our momentum, so overall everything is coming to crash down. Over on the 4 hour, we are trying to come up back to the point of control, so if we come up, break through, that would be good if we can continue forward. However, if we come up and get rejected, then it's likely we'll get more downside. Our RSI is trying to make a bend up, but overall it's getting lower highs, so just keep an eye on it. Our stochastic is getting a bullish cross, so the stochastic does want to make a recovery, but the stochastic does still have bearish momentum here. It is trying to flip bullish, so if it can flip bullish with some strength, then we may create a bullish trend on the 4 hour, which could help push the daily up. Our momentum is trying to get a little bit of a push up here, so that is good, but that's going to depend on if that VWAP can actually push through. That VWAP does look like it's starting to bend out and could start to stutter here, so keep an eye on it. Over on the 2 hour, our RSI is overall starting to slide, momentum is starting to slide, our stochastic is sliding, so overall everything is getting weak. Our money flow is overall losing its strength. We are just above that neutral line, so it wants to go bearish. So if it does head into that bearish territory, we could be in for some more downside, and that 4 hour might not get that cross. That VWAP is looking like it wants to round off, so the VWAP's not looking too strong, so I would definitely keep an eye on the next few candles. Our momentum does want to come up, but if that VWAP starts to give up the strength, that momentum's likely to do the same. Finally, on our 1 hour, our stochastic is trying to run rampant, RSI is trying to push forward, our VWAP is trying to maintain bullish momentum. It's struggling to get past the 7 area though, so if it does push away, we could see some downside. Just keep an eye on that. Our money flow also is in the bearish territory and struggling to go bullish, but it's also struggling to go further into the bearish territory and kind of just seesawing around. So just watch where this money flow lands. If it starts to inch its way down more, we could be in for another swing down. Our momentum does want to come up, but if that VWAP rejects away, it's likely to follow. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.